What's more terrifying than a xenomorph, more relentless than a Terminator, and armed with paperwork instead of plasma rifles? Try an Interstellar Revenue Decimation Service, IRDS, auditor who gives you exactly 28 galactic days to cough up 1 million credits in back taxes. Or phase vaporization with extreme bureaucratic prejudice, rhetorical cliffhanger, self-owning answer. That is the central gag of Innocent Until Caught Divide by Zero's 1993 sci-fi adventure that asks, what if Monkey Island's Guybrush Threepwood grew up, found the minibar, and decided larceny was the quickest path to solvency? Bizarre, positively. Classic, cult classic at minimum. Underrated, inarguably. Sandwiched between Day of the Tentacles cartoon genius and Sam and Max's freelancing chaos, this game slipped past mainstream radar faster than a smuggler under a cloaking field. Fundamental? If you adore point-and-clickers with more verbs than a Scrabble final, yes. Negligible? Only if you also discard your 1990s Psygnosis discs as coasters, in which case I'm staging an intervention. My through-line obsession today is that absurd cosmic tax bill. I'll wave it like a flaming baton until the epilogue because nothing motivates crime, digital or otherwise, like a deadline scrawled in red ink and radioactive font. Historical context. By late 93, Psygnosis sat atop a silver disc throne, renowned for Amiga showpieces such as Shadow of the Beast and console curios like Lemmings. Their iconic owl logo meant prepare for retina-melting pixel art, yet internally the Liverpool label wanted dialogue-heavy adventures to diversify the menagerie. Enter newcomers Divide by Zero, yes, a development house cheekily named after a maths catastrophe, pitching a sardonic romp starring Jack T. Ladd, intergalactic thief, connoisseur of cheap bourbon, and walking OSHA violation. Psygnosis greenlit the project, shipped it on 6 high-density floppies for DOS and Amiga, and marketed with the retro-chic tagline, "Smash and grab in space," next to concept art that looked like Mobius after a pub crawl. The CD-ROM wave was already cresting. Sierra's Gabriel Knight would launch Talkie laden that same winter, but UIC, like many Brits of its day, stayed strictly diskette, meaning text speech is scrolled where rivals now hired voice actors. The broader scene? 1993 was gaming's Cambrian explosion. Doom shareware blasted one side of the industry into first-person mayhem, while LucasArts perfected comedic 2D point-and-click. Beneath a Steel Sky loomed on the horizon, promising cyberpunk gravitas, and Psygnosis itself would soon pivot to PlayStation dominance with Whip Out. My personal context: a 14-year-old suburban kid hoarding VGA adventures like Pokemon cards. When Innocent Until Caught cropped up in the electronics boutique carousel, its box art, a slick noir thief dangling from a hoverline, while a top-heavy tax droid zapped forms into his face, felt rebellious, almost illegal. Also, the game's 15+ rating made it forbidden fruit. Never underestimate teenager magnetism to pastel profanity. I traded 3 used Commander Keen floppies to snag it and spent a weekend ignoring Algebra 2, reasoning that dividing by zero was the devs' problem now. Mechanics. On the surface, UIC, yes, insiders abbreviate, is a LucasArts-style third-person pointer, chunky verb bar at the bottom, walk, look, use, take, talk, plus a naughty operate for mischief. Inventory of knick-knacks, and cinematic cutscenes rendered in pastel-airbrush. But 2 design quirks sling it beyond template. First is the 3 big scores structure, a triple heist scavenger hunt front-loading act variety. To clear his IRDS debt, Jack must obtain 1. A giant kahula bird egg from a xenobiology institute, 2. A Quargian Pleno credit bond from the hyper-secure Citibank vault, and 3. A modern art piece by surrealist sculptor Renato Spangle at the Stony Bridge Gallery. Which underworld contact hires him? Ebenezer, the shifty pawnbroker, or Git Savage, Tayte Planet's crime lord cum Boulevardier? Depends on how you chat up characters in the seedy spaceport, creating a lightly branching quest order. As far as nerd metaphors go, think of it as an NS Mega Man boss order. 3 self-contained capers, puzzles cross-pollinating via inventory synergy. Second is the in-game time limit, those ominous red numerals in the status panel that tick down each transition, reminding you of IRDS's looming disintegration laser. It's real, but blessedly generous. Still, nothing spikes cortisol like a puzzle stall, while Cosmic H and R Block warms up a particle beam. I can't name many 1993 adventures that married classical concurrency, points, with real-time pressure. Sierra flirted with timers, yet UIC weaponized the tax due date as mechanical sword of Damocles. Now let's hop into one heist for texture. The Kahula egg snatch begins inside Tayte's grim zoological dome. Part menagerie, part LucasArts bug house. You must distract a robo-warden, splice a security badge using a replicator, yes, pre-Voyager 3D printing, and don a defective L-class bird handler exosuit whose hydraulics hiccup when you emote. The absurd through line? Every time Jack cracks a one-liner, the suit's servo clamps squeal, attracting a 12-foot Roadrunner lizard hybrid that eyeballs him like brunch. Eventually, you coax said beast with an industrial tub of Space-O's cereal, itself obtained by short-circuiting a vending machine using said servo squeal, puzzle synergy, and turbo. The exosuit meltdown is comedic motif. It pops up again during the bank heist when trying to bluff guards with a throughly fake mustache. The servo squeal betrays you. And in Savage's mansion, where a butler droid mistakes the suit for a vacuum docking station. Through line sustained, comedic momentum intact. Interface rants? Sure, UIC supports both keyboard toggles and right-click verb cycling, but earlier Amiga releases shipped with a bug causing double clicks to eat items. They vanish into inventory limbo, spawning frustrated players who called it innocent until crashed. Psygnosis patched DOS quickly, Amiga community less so. Classic early 90s QA. Audio-wise, a Roland MT32 sings jazzy sci-fi riffs. Sound Blaster users endure crunchy FM, but the theme's sax line still slaps like a sleazy cantina band. Pop culture winks bombard you. The IRDS agent on Tayte's spaceport is clearly Judge Dredd meets H&R Block, quoting the Untouchables, cause that's the Psygnosis way. The City Vault lobby loops a Muzak version of Money for Nothing, which auto-skips Dire Straits guitars due to licensing. And in the art gallery infiltration, a fake statue labeled Guybrush's Last Stand stands next to a plaque reading, "From the Lost Lucas Quadrant." Rhetorical question? Subtle. Self-answer. About as subtle as a neon space whale. Puzzles oscillate between elegant and who hurt you designer. Example of the latter, lubricating a pneumatic trash chute with alien saliva collected via lozenge bribes, then launching yourself inside to bypass sensors. Only after 3 deaths, Jack ragdolls like Wile E. Coyote, did I realize I'd mistimed the spit viscosity. Sierra fans will feel right at home. An elegant puzzle? Conning a bureaucratic AI by forging a forms requisition stamp. Classic text parser meets new millennium bureaucracy. UIC even supplies the blank forms. Players must replicate the IRDS sigil using red jelly and a stolen dental mold. Long story involving a drunken dentist droid. Legacy and influence, did UIC light industry fires? Commercially, no. Psygnosis produced fewer than 150,000 units. Peanuts next to LucasArts multi-million shipments. And reviews range from ambitious but clunky to faith in humanity partially restored. Many mags ding the clashing palette. Psygnosis artists loved magenta apparently, and some voiceless cut scenes felt eerie once CD talkies became default. Yet for design nerds, UIC laid groundwork in 3 arenas. 1. British absurdist sci-fi UIC's DNA bled straight into Revolution's Broken Sword writing team. Writer Dave Cummins reportedly cited its rapid-fire asides when polishing George Staubert's sarcasm. More directly, Divide by Zero reused the engine for Guilty, 1995, a tag team sequel where you switch between Jack and space cop Yasani Andropath, predating Day of the Tentacles multi-hero puzzle, weaving by a hair. Second timer-driven narrative stakes. The 28-day ticking bomb predicted later narrative time loops like Dead Rising's 72-hour clock and Outer Wilds' 22-minute solar reset. Granted, Capcom added hordes of zombies. Divide by Zero used tax warrants, but thematic principle identical. Urgency without action genre. 3. Anti-hero protagonist Jack T. Ladd is no noble knight of Daventry. He's a roguish pickpocket with chronic alimony debt. Adventure Games had flirted with scoundrels. Roger Wilco, Larry Laffer. Yet UIC pushes criminality front and center. That gleeful amorality influenced Deponia's Rufus and Telltale's early design docs on Tales from the Borderlands. Loot-hungry Reese and Fiona. Why remain niche? Several factors. The absence of full speech hindered accessibility once gamers expected CD talkies. Its difficulty curve, spit tube of doom, scared casual players, and marketing overshadow from LucasArts synergy dwarfed Psygnosis' PR. Lastly, the comedic register verged on PG-13, innuendo, mild profanity, a shower sequence pixel butt, limiting edutainment school adoption unlike safer Sierra fare. Closing paragraph plus score. So is innocent until Will caught a dodgy tax evasion simulator disguised as a space opera, or a criminally overlooked proto-heist masterpiece? Myself answer, equal parts guilty plea and spirited defense, is that it's both. A historically scrappy, mechanically uneven adventure whose wit, world building, and willingness to troll bean counters render it evergreen. It taught me that deadlines can propel narrative just as gracefully as boss fights, and that any game brave enough to pivot an entire plot around paying taxes deserves at least a nod during April filing season. Final score, 8.0 out of 10. If the IRS ever lets me itemize retro adventure research expenses, I might bump it to an 8.5.